The weight of the last book stood out to the smart man. It was old and musty, of course, smelled of decay, and was falling apart in his ash-stained fingers, but it was the heaviness of the volume that took the smart man by surprise. I would think by now you would have no gravity at all. And he coughed smoke onto the last book, and if he ever laughed, he might have then. The fire in the oven was at last burning bright and bespoke of a lukewarm evening for the people of the building. A brief respite from the freeze outside, ancient patched up pipes for the people to curl up near and fall asleep with a modicum of comfort. Cold comfort, that'll be duckies, the smart man thought, and considered the irony of calling themselves building people, for nothing else would be built. No stone bridges ever again, no tall glass sky structures, no glass at all, no concrete roadways to motor across. What? Dead lands dumping into dead seas. Thick, shabby armfuls of architectural texts had been consigned to the oven fires long, long ago, before he ever became the smart man. After that, it kind of seemed pointless to keep algebra and trigonometry around. Geography and geometry was next to go. No one seemed to notice. The smart man remembered the numbers, the ruler-measured fine line drawings, and those thick-bodied tomes, the abstract equations that signified so much advancement of the human mind, ever widening the scope of our industry and achievement, pushing us up and out into the vastness of space and onto other planets, which was inconceivable now. Since history had been the first subject cast into the flames right after the seemingly endless pile of vacant romance and pseudo-vampire books, which surprisingly offered no heat. No one could recall how things had gone this way, how the days had stopped being bright, and no, there was no wood, no fuel of any kind, gradually diminished, disappeared altogether. When exactly had the people of the building ventured from their safe but dilapidated warren with its long rooms of riotous habitation and never-ending miseries to scour the empty city for anything at all to feed the oven, to keep the dark at bay for as long as possible? These things the smart man didn't know, and maybe the smart man behind him would know, but there would be no smart men. Not like you, my friend, not like you, he said as he flipped the heavy book's pages and watched the firelight flicker across their yellow, brittle surfaces. But of other times, of olden times, the smart man knew many forgotten things, of great men and women who wrote deep words, sweet words, long words about countries and concepts now gone, of seemingly non-stop wars and flags and moments of importance of inventions that had changed the way people knew themselves and lived with them or conquered them. He knew ways to control water with flowing channels, ways to drive a car, whatever the fuck that was. He knew rules of governance and congenial manners, rules of games played by athletes for glory and great wealth. He could describe the body, its ailments and cures in Latin, for language had always caught on with him. And he always marveled at the certitude of grammar and its ability to give one place and reference in time. Now for us to face a final declension. Stupid joke, said the smart man to the licking fire, and he did attempt that small laugh now, which sounded more like choking. He never really rebuked himself from tossing theology to the oven. Any great spirit that would deign to allow this abominable world to fall into such ignorance and futility was no spirit he cared to know of. And a sick, ironic smile creased his face as he watched those divine thoughts crackle inward and now consume themselves. Art. Art, though. Art was the greatest of all of his sins. He wept as he fed the furnace fire with every bizarre page of Picasso, hurled every black moment of Goya, followed fast by the eye-watering yellows and blues of Van Gogh. He was sick for a week after burning up all the beautiful peoples populating the photos of Leibowitz and incinerating the stirring black and white worlds of atoms, torching the twisted subjects of Mapplethorpe's imagination. He knew he would never recover. Poor Pollock and his dripping madness consumed page after page of Greek, Roman, Mayan, and Vedic statuary, all fed the building people's need to stave off the gloom. Manuals, manifestos, letters, ledger, every pulp page and scrap of printed matter. Gone now, gone, because needs of street and survival had instilled a new dark age. The most fascinating stories and scenarios of science and craft, the inspired work of our whole running human race, now stopped. Silent. All ash. While fending off the perilous present, they had lost their only hope for any future. And the smart man had helped them. Just as every smart man before him had done, the books, the words, the knowledge of the species was now just so much carbon debris swirling about their heads, sucking into their rapidly dying, failing lungs. The smart man hefted the weight of the last book in his hand. You are not so special, not better than the rest that have gone before you. No, 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 only specializing because being the last of the chapters and all, some last squiggly words for the flame is all. He told himself this, but he knew it wasn't right. He knew this was a true ending, a sad, boorish ending. Guess they'll burn their own shit now, the smart man thought. And somehow, funny enough, he didn't even care. He whimpered out a rattling sound and tossed the last book into the flame. The Critique of Pure Reason by some guy named Immanuel Kant. It caught fast and began to merge with the other volumes of nothingness. Fuck you, Kant, the smart man whispered. You were always too dry for my taste. And with a determined grunt, he crawled into the oven himself. A weathered book in his own right, his volumes and layers dissolved and blackened. His binding quickly uncurled, and he left the cold, dumb world without reverence, to be embraced by its final demon-haunted night.